In this lesson, we will be going over arc length formula. So the arc length formula is a formula that allows you to measure the length of an arc that's related to an angle. So the formula is that the arc length will be equal to the angle times the radius. So this formula is on your formula sheet, so you don't have to memorize it. But important to note two things. First is that when using this formula, theta, or the angle, must be measured in radians. You cannot use it measured in degrees. So you have to change it to radians. And the other important thing to note is that you can rearrange this formula by isolating either theta or the radius. And so then you would be able to solve for either the angle that's unknown if you know the arc length and the radius, or the radius if you know the arc length and the angle. So it's important to keep that sort of basic algebra in mind. So if we look at the first example, it says if a wheel of radius 0.5 meters rolls 1.5 meters, how many radians has it turned? So in this case, we're given the radius of 0.5 and the arc length of 1.5. So we can use theta is equal to arc length over radius, and we get 1.5 divided by 0.5. So the angle in this case would be equal to 3 radians. In example 2, it asks you to find the arc length of a wheel given a diameter of 10 centimeters and a central angle of 700 degrees. So there's two things here that are important. One is that in the question you're given the diameter, but our arc length formula always uses radius. So you need to divide the diameter by 2 to get the radius. And the second thing is that the angle has been given to you in degrees. So you need to convert that into radians. So remember 700 times pi over 180, and then just reduce your fraction. So 35 pi over 9. Once you've done both of those things, you can use your arc length formula, S equals theta times R, which is 35 pi over 9 times 5. Remember, multiply the tops, so you get 175 pi over 9, which, when you plug that into your calculator, is equal to 61.09 centimeters. Finally, in example 3, it wants you to find the measure of the central angle in degrees. So here you can see that the radius is 5 and that this arc length around is 25 centimeters. In this case, you're solving for theta. Theta is equal to arc length over radius, so 25 over 5. So theta is equal to 5 radians. But the question has asked you to solve for the angle in degrees. So in your final step, you will take 5 radians and multiply it by 180 over pi. And using a calculator, you can see that the angle would be equal to 286.5 degrees.